Hello. I bring to you bedtime stories. I know it's not night and it's not bedtime. Oh, parents, put this on later for your kids. Hello, children. It is night and it is bedtime. It's light because I've got the light on, but you have to put yours off in a minute. Okay. I'm going to read just a little bit more of our story. There's only 2 pages left for the end of chapter 1, so I'm going to read that now. I haven't got me fairy lights, but I've got Derek, me teddy. Ian bought me this a few years ago. It says, I think of you every day. You are gorgeous in every way. You might be looking at me thinking, dear me, missus, you're not that gorgeous. But that is because I is poorly. But we are all still gorgeous people, no matter how we look, if we're nice inside. Right, continuing chapter 1. Today, Humphrey has a cold, so he's got a bit of a sore little squeaker. Unfortunately, she didn't tell Mrs. Brisbane that. Mrs. Brisbane was already in room 26 when we arrived. If you don't know what's going on, look back at the other episodes because it's carrying on in the book. Mrs. Brisbane was already in room 26, the classroom, when we arrived. She smiled at Miss Mac and shook her hand. Then she frowned at me and said, Is that some kind of rodent? Miss Mac gave her the speech about how much kids can learn from taking care of another species. Mrs. Brisbane looked horrified and said, I can't stand rodents. Take it back. The it she was talking about was me. Miss Mac didn't bat an eyelash. She put my cage in its usual place, next to the window, and said the kids were already very attached to me. She attached Dr. Harvey H. Hammer's guide to the care and feeding of hamsters to the cage, along with a chart to make sure I was fed and my cage was cleaned on time. The children know what to do. You won't have to do a thing. The children know what to do. The children know what to do. You don't have to do a thing, Miss Mac said, as Mrs. Brisbane glared at me. Just then my fellow students came streaming into the room, and with half an hour Miss Mac had said goodbye to everyone, including me. Oh, poor Humphrey. I'll never forget you, Humphrey, she whispered. Don't you forget me either, she said. Not likely, but I don't know if I can forgive you, I squeaked. And then she was gone without me. Oh, poor Humphrey. Mrs. Brisbane didn't even come close to my cage until recess. That's American for playtime. Then she walked over and said, Mister, you've got to go. But she doesn't know my secret. The latch on my cage door doesn't work. It never has. It's the lock that doesn't lock. So I've got news for Mrs. Brisbane. If I've got to go, it will be when and where I decide to go. Not her. Meanwhile, I'm not turning my back on this woman. Not for a second. If I ever disappear and someone finds this notebook, just check out Mrs. Brisbane, please. Then in the book it's got a tip. Tip 1. Choose your new hamster's home very carefully and make sure it is secure. Because you've got to look after, if you're getting a hamster, you've got to do it properly. Hamsters are skillful escape artists, and once out of their cages they are very difficult to find. That's from Guide to the Care and Feeding of Hamsters by Dr. Harvey H. Hammer. We've had a few hamsters over the years because they only live about 2.5 years. Oh, kids who are going to sleep, don't have nightmares. If you've got a hamster, there's nothing going to happen to it. You'll have it for ages yet. They live for years. Some live up to like 5 years or so. I'm going to shut up now. Next time, we're going on to nightlife on chapter 2. See you then. Turn your lights off. Good night. Good night from me and Derek. Toby, do you want to say good night to the children? Nice and calm because they're going to sleep. Say good night. Lucy, say good night. Lucy's asleep. It's time you were to. Nighty night. Love you. Bye.